Hello, my name is Brenda. My channel is Handwork Maniac. Welcome. I just wanted to do a quick video right now to talk about my Olympic stitching, and then I'll do a regular video separately, hopefully like today or in a couple days to get caught up on everything else. The Winter Olympics started officially yesterday, and I have always loved the Olympics. I have loved them since I was a child. I have just watched them. Loved watching them then, love watching them now. So in the summer, when we had the Summer Olympics, I made a stitching challenge for myself to stitch while I was watching the Olympics, and a couple of my friends did it with me. And so I'm doing it again. We are doing it again for the Winter Olympics, and I just thought I would share it with you really quick in case you were interested in doing something similar. And there's another one on, there's one on Instagram. I was gonna look it up and I forgot to see who was doing that one. I will look it up and put it down below. But it's a fun one. It has like a prompt every day during the Olympics for you to stitch on. Okay, I love data, as you know, and I also still love stickers from when I was a child. So for my Olympic challenge, it works the best for me to have a chart. So here's my chart. I have 4 pieces as part of my Olympic challenge. The Olympics actually go officially from the 4th to the 20th, and that is 17 days, but there's some events that start earlier. So I always start stitching as soon as the event starts. So these are like bonus days. Like whatever I stitch on Wednesday and Thursday, I count that as bonus minutes that I can add in later if I need them. And then I always add 1 extra day on the end because it always ends on a weekend, and sometimes the weekends are crazy. Things happen you weren't planning on. So it gives me just 1 more day to get caught up. If I was close to a medal on something, I could finish that. It just gives me that kind of that catch-up day. So for some of my challenges, you'll notice that I'm counting 18 days. So this is 17 days plus that extra day makes 18, just because 18 is an easier number to work with than 17. But I didn't really count these bonus days in my medal goals, which will make more sense in a minute. Okay, so I have a daily 30 piece, which happens to be a new start for me for the Olympics. I'm doing Heart of Winter by Little Dove Designs. I'll show you that in a minute. And then I have an Olympic piece, which my goal is 2 hours a day on. So if I can work 2 hours a day on it, that's a gold medal, but I'll give you more details about that in a minute. Then there's an alternate piece, because you know how the Olympic team always has an alternate just in case something happens to one of their athletes and they need to pull in the alternate. So I have an alternate piece, which my, what I would love to get done on goal is an hour a day. And then I have a medals piece, which is kind of fun. I look to see how many medals my country earned that day. And then the next day, I need to stitch 15 minutes for every gold medal, 10 minutes for every silver medal, and 5 minutes for every bronze medal on this medals piece, which will be Colors of Winter. No, Colors of Water. My piece, Colors of Water. So for this Olympic piece, which is 2 hours a day, I'm doing my Whip Go pieces for February, which is the Zimmerman Coverlet and Day and Night by Long Dog Samplers. So I'm going to be working on those in my Olympic piece spot, which is 2 hours a day. And then for my alternate slot, which is 1 hour a day, I'll be working on my monthly stitch-alongs to see if I can keep caught up on them doing an hour a day. So I'll just start on one, and when I've got that one caught up, then I'll do the next one, whichever one is due first, I'll work on. So those are the 4 pieces. This is kind of my master chart where I keep track of how many minutes I've done and where I'm behind, and these columns are really tall because I write what I actually stitched in black, but then underneath I kind of keep some notes in red. Like for the medals piece, it will say in red under here how many minutes needed to be stitched that day. Then I kind of keep track if I'm behind or ahead. So I'll keep track underneath in red of how I'm doing or where I need to get caught up, or if I'm ahead or behind or underneath. That's why those columns are so long. And then I have, because I love stickers, I'm just a child at heart actually, I have a piece for every chart for each day. So here's my daily 30 piece, and I chose some stickers that are numbered 1 through 31. I'm sure they're meant to use in a planner where you're putting the dates on. But I'll just keep going consecutively each day that I work on my daily 30 piece with the numbers. And then if I get 18 days done of that of daily 30, and this one I can't make up on other days. It has to have, like, I can't do an hour on one day and count that as 2 days daily 30. It just counts on the day that I actually got 30 minutes on it. So if I'd missed a day, then the next sticker will be a 4 over here. I hope that made sense. If I can get 18 days done, that's a gold medal. 16 days is silver, and 14 days is a bronze medal on that piece. And then here's my page for my Olympic piece. I have the 2 that I'm working on. If I can actually get 2 hours a day for 18 days, that's 36 hours. In these, I can miss a day and then make up later. So it's 36 hours total at the end. A silver medal would be 30 hours, which is about 100 minutes a day. And then a bronze medal would be 24 hours, which is about 80 minutes a day. And then I put a sticker on when I've stitched on it that day, and I write down how many minutes so I can keep track. This is the page for my medals piece, which I have to keep track of how many medals my country won, which is the United States. So these 3 columns are for me to write down what medals were won the day before, because I'm not actually stitching those minutes until the day after, which is a little confusing. And then I'll keep some notes in here too if I'm behind or ahead. And I'll put a sticker every day that I stitch. I'll put a sticker every day that I stitch, whether I made it to the full minutes or not. And then here's my how many minutes I'm stitching for each. For every gold medal, 15 minutes. For every silver medal, 10. And for every bronze medal, 5. And that will be my Colors of Water piece, which I'll show you here in a minute. And then the alternate piece will be my monthly stitch alongs that I'm trying to keep caught up on. And 1 hour a day would be 18 hours. That's gold medal. And yes, I can miss a day and then make up the minutes later in another day. Silver would be 9 hours, which is about 30 minutes a day. And bronze is 4.5 hours for the whole Olympics, which would be about 15 minutes a day. So that's where I keep track of that one. Hopefully that made sense. All right, so for the daily 30 was a new start for me for the Olympics. I tried to pick one that was not too big so that I could actually maybe get it mostly done during the Olympics. It is Heart of Winter by Little Dove Designs. I'm doing mine with the called for DMC 2 strands of floss on 32 count Country French Rain. French Country Rain? I think it's Country French Rain. 32 count. And this is what I have so far. Just that middle. I'm getting a shadow from the camera and the lights. Let's see if we can fix that. Maybe that's better. Okay. I just have that middle strip right across the middle done. So this is the whole width of the middle of the heart. And I did the trees and a little bit of the white. There's a lot of white floss in this pattern. And my wonderful friend Emily said that she had started this pattern and wasn't happy with how the white was showing up on her fabric. So I thought, oh, thanks for the tip. Before I picked the fabric, I made sure the white would show up well on it. But that's where I am so far after, I think I started this on Wednesday. And then for the Olympic piece, my 2 Whipco pieces that were drawn for the month are the Zimmerman Coverlet by Modern Folk Embroidery. Mine is on 46 count antique ivory. No, sorry, it's on 56 count antique ivory. And I'm using DMC 121, which is a variegated blue, as my color. And my Whip Go goal for this piece is 20 hours for this month. That I'd like to get done during this month. I mean, it's a yearly goal, but when else am I going to have time to work on it? But this month when it's called. So 20 hours on this one. And that's what it's looking like so far. I love it. So beautiful. And that DMC 121 is such a pretty variegated color. This is the first piece I started ever on 56 count, and I love it. And then my other piece that was called for Whip Go is Day and Night by Long Dog Samplers. It looks like this. I am stitching this on 40 count Valor by Picture This Plus with the called for DMC colors. And I made a very interesting discovery today. I had finally got around today to cutting the fabric to size, because sometimes when I start a piece on, especially on colored fabric, I want to make sure it looks good before I actually cut the fabric. And you know, I've been working on this since 2019, and I'm finally deciding, oh yeah, I like the color, maybe I should cut the fabric to size. So as I was working on cutting it to size, I made a funny discovery. Not funny, but interesting to me. Here's what it's looking like so far. Using one strand of floss over 2 fabric threads. It is a green color. It's hard to tell, it always looks gray, but it is a green. It's a very green gray, but it's green. I love the border. All the little houses, they're the same houses over and over again, but they always are a different color. When I measured this, and then when I did just the math from the stitch count and figured out how long it needed to be so I could cut it, it was like 2 more inches, and I was like, wait, that's not right. Why is this stitching so much smaller than the stitch count is telling me to cut this on 40 count with a 3-inch border? So then I measured here to here, because I have that much done. I know exactly how tall this piece is going to be. I measured that and then did the math. And this is more like a 44, 45 count fabric, even though it's listed as a 40 count. And Picture This Plus fabric, I've heard this before, tends to be a little tight. Like if it's listed as a 32 count, it's really going to be, you know, a little tighter because it shrinks in their process. The way that they dye shrinks the fabric a little bit. So I always knew that if you want, you know, I'm always happier with the Picture This Plus fabric because my DMC covers just a little bit better. 1 strand on 40 count covers just a little bit better, and 2 strands on 32 count covers just a little bit better than a regular 32 count or a 40 count. And it finally dawned on me today that I mean, I kind of knew that in the back of my head, that Picture This Plus fabric is always a little tight. But then it finally dawned on me that's why Picture This Plus fabric feels different. It's, you know, all the ones that have this orange thread in the selvage are Zweigart fabric base. That's what the dyers are using. They're all using the same fabric to start with. So why does some brands, some dyers fabric feel different than other dyers fabric? And you can always tell when it's a Picture This Plus because it's a little thicker. It's got a really nice hand to it. It drapes really nicely because it's a little bit thicker fabric. And now that makes sense to me because their fabric shrinks a little bit. However, what their dyeing process is shrinks it a little bit. So this is actually, if you count the threads in an inch, it would be closer to a 44, 45 count than a 40 count, which makes me very happy because I love the coverage a little bit better on 46 count with 1 strand of DMC than 40 count. My Whip Go goal for this piece is a finish this year, and I would love to finish it this month. So this is going to be my focus for a finish this month. It's going to get all of my extra time on it, and I will do my best to get it done. It's not it's got a lot of open space in it, you can tell. It's not very full coverage. It's got a lot of open space. So I'm hoping I'll at least get close. And then for the metals piece, excuse me, I'm working on Colors of Water because that's the next, another one that's day and night, and except for the new stuff that I have started since the beginning of the year, Day and Night and Colors of Water are the closest I have to a finish. So I picked this one because it was close to a finish, and I would love to get it even closer to a finish during the Olympics. Die Farben des Wassers by Der Werkstatt für Historische Stickmuster. They are a German company, and it translates to the colors of water, and I just think it is the most gorgeous piece. I love it. Gorgeous pattern. Mine is on 46 count white linen with the called for Avera Soie d'Alger threads. Oh, it's going to need something behind it. And this is what I have so far. It is such a gorgeous piece. I love working on it. So this will be the piece that I need to put as many minutes in as Team USA got medals for that day, or the day before, because then, you know, you have to wait until the day's over to figure out how many medals there were, and then you stitch it the next day. So I'm hoping that one gets closer to a finish. And then the alternate piece, yes, the alternate piece, which I'm hoping to get an hour a day in on, is trying to keep up on all my stitch-alongs. I started a new stitch-along in January, which I don't think I've showed you yet. It's By the Bay Needlearts Home Sweet Home stitch-along. And she sends out a new section every month. It started in November. And I didn't even see it until January on Ginger Gerald's channel. And I thought, why have I not heard of this? What in the world? I need to stitch this. So I've been working frantically this month, trying to get caught up. It comes out on the 8th of every month. So there will be a new one out next week. So I was trying to get 1, 2, and 3 done before part 4 comes out on the 8th. I'm stitching mine on 46 count Stitch Me in the color Vintage. It's the color Vintage by Stitch Me 46 count. And I just need to, there's a strip like this right along here. I just need to finish that up, and then I will be ready for the new section that comes out on the 8th. So this is the one I'll work on first until I get this strip done, which should only take me another day maybe. These have been so fun to stitch. I love By the Bay Needlearts. I love their colors. I love her style. One strand of the called for DMC floss over 2 fabric threads. And then as soon as I get that caught up, I need to work on oh, that's not the picture. My Home in the Garden by Hello from Liz Matthews. This is a stitch along I'm doing with several friends. Colette, the Highway Stitcher, her channel, she is our leader of this stitch along, and the hashtag for this is Garden Stitching SAL, stitch along. If you'd like to join us, I'm stitching mine on 46 count antique white linen. Ooh, let me check that. With the called for Gloriana threads. Oh no, it's on alabaster. It's on 40 count. Oh, 40 count alabaster, I think, with the called for Gloriana threads. She does have a DMC conversion listed, but I'm using the Gloriana. This is what I have so far, and by the 15th of this month, I need to have the next section done, which is the next 3 letters and the flowers above it. So as soon as I'm done with the By the Bay Home Sweet Home, I will get this one caught up before the 15th. Which is totally doable. And then as soon as that's caught up, I will work on Kingdom of Books in that slot. This is a Russian kit that I bought from mybobbin.com. It came with 14 count white Aida. I am not using that. I'm using an 18 count Aida overdyed that looks a lot like this, similar to this wood color behind. So I am not stitching the background. I am just stitching a little bit of it around each house for a shadow. And then I'm just stitching a few rows of this shelf pattern underneath to give it a shadow on the bottom so it's anchored to the floor, not floating in air. I'm doing this as a stitch along with my friend Sharon, and I know several other stitchers are stitching it. Sharon and I are doing a half a book a month. So in total, it will take us 3 years to stitch the whole thing, and we are on our 2nd year. I have stitched all of these, and I have half of this book done right here. So I need to finish the other half of that book by the end of the month. I'm using the kit floss. The directions originally said to use 3 strands of floss on the 14 count Aida that the kit comes with. I am doing mine with 2 strands of floss on the 18 count Aida that I'm doing mine on. So I should not run out of floss. This one is so fun to work on. There are 50 colors in this kit. So there's lots of shading to make it to create that shine that looks like the light is shining on those books. That is just shading. The floss is very similar to a cotton DMC. I had one viewer say that she asked and they told her it was Presentia floss. But it's nice floss. And I love the colors that they have provided. The titles are in Russian. The titles of the books, they are all books about the Netherlands, because I believe the artist meant these books to look like the houses along the canals in the Netherlands that look very similar to this. My good friend Mary did the translation for me with her, and her son helped her, or checked her work, I guess, because he knows Russian. So that's how and then I'm just altering the pattern to stitch the titles in English, because I love knowing what the book is actually about. If you are interested in the translation that I'm using from Wonderful Mary, just send me an email. My email address is listed in the description box below, and I'll send it to you. And then if I get all 3 of those caught up before the end of the month, I'm working on Cricut Collection Winter. There it is. That looks like this. I had started it on a piece of fabric, but I decided I need to restart it. So I will be restarting that, but I would really like to get this done before summer starts, because we still need to, my friend Sharon and I are also stitching these. We have spring done and autumn done, and now we're working on winter, but we still have summer to go. So my goal is to have this done before summer so that then I can work on summer. I am using a conversion from Shepherd's Bush. They have a model on the wall that they stitched, and they've basically substituted this main color on each letter that gets used a lot. They subbed in an overdyed color for those. And then a couple of theirs I didn't have, so I'm using a different color. But the rest of it is the called for DMC. And I think their model on the wall is also on a different fabric than the pattern calls for. But I will show you that again when I get it restarted. I think I'm going to do mine on 32 count Country French Rain, because it does have a lot of white in it as well, and I really want the white to show up. So those are my plans for the Olympics. After the Olympics are over for the rest of the month, then I'll do some serious work on my full coverage pieces and my Peaceable Kingdom Saturday piece that are getting neglected during the Olympics, and anything else that is normally in my monthly plan that got neglected during the Olympics. Oh, and then in March, I am going to do my Mania, even though the Facebook group has shut down, the official Facebook group for Stitch Mania. I'm still going to do Mania because I love it. It's just a fun activity. And I always kind of make it my own thing. I'm going to do Mania in March this year instead of May, because May is a crazy month for me. And I realized looking over the past 3 years that I don't get a lot of stitching done in May. So March is just one of those really long months that goes on forever, and you're waiting for spring. And I have a lot of hours to stitch in March because there's just not a lot of stuff going on in the rest of my life. So I'm going to do my Mania pieces. I do the Blimey Cat method, which is Brittany at Ingleside Imaginarium. Yes, that's her Instagram name, Blimey Cat. And she was the first one that started that method, where if you start a Mania piece, whatever day you started it on, it's going to stay on that slot for Mania every year on that day until you finish it. So I'll still do my same Mania pieces on the day they were started in May, only they'll do it on the day they were started in March. I have 11 still on that are not finished yet, which means I have 11 open slots for new starts. And then, so I'll do it like I normally do it. I'll just do it in March instead of May, and I'll make a separate video. I'll make another video showing you all my pieces and where they are and what I'm going to start. And then in May, I'm going to repeat again because it's May, and I'll just do all the pieces again on the day that they got started on, to give them one more day of dedicated work on them in May, because it's Mania and it's May and it feels like it still should be Mania, so I'll just work on them again during May. Hopefully that made sense. So I will make, this is just a quick Olympics video that I needed to get up today because the Olympics started already, and then I'll make another video with all of that other stuff in it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.